But that question, even though it has appeared in the Microsoft AZ-104, was not the correct question. Building and implementing the cloud infrastructure belonging to an organization is not an easy task. And that's why big companies and organizations needs Azure administrators who can skillfully handle the highly scalable Azure solutions. Hello and welcome back to the Tech Blackboard, and this is our AZ-104 exam preparation series. So let's open part 14 with a very interesting question. Question number 96. Let's read the question. The question says that you have an Azure subscription. Now the subscription contains a storage account named Storage 1 that has the lifecycle management rules as shown in the following tables. Now friends, if you remember in the last episode, episode number 13, I took a question number 91, but that question, even though it has appeared in the Microsoft AZ-104, was not the correct question. So that's why, my friends, here is the correct version of that question that will help you understand various storage tier in Microsoft Azure. So let's read the question ahead. Here you can see we are given with this table. We have 4 columns here. Let's understand each column. So here you can see in the first column, we have this blob storage and we are given with some set of rules. So we have rule 1, rule 2, 3 and 4. And then you can see we are given with some blob prefix. Here you can see we have container 1 and this one is not applicable, which is rule 2. And then we have container 2 and container 2. Now let's see what is given in the third column. This is very important column, and this column says that if base was modified more than the days ago. So here you can see that we are given with number of days when these rules apply. So we have 3 days, which is for the rule 1. Then we have 5 days, 10 days and 15 days respectively for rule 2, 3 and 4. And then in the last columns, we are given with move to the archive storage, which is kind of action which triggers when this rule applies. And then the second action given is move to the cool storage, which is rule 2, delete blob storage, rule 3, and lastly move to the archive storage, rule 4. So I hope you understood the entire table. These are set of rules which are triggered based on these days and what actions they will perform. They will perform these actions. Now let's move ahead and read the other parts of the question. Here you can see it says that on the June 1, you store 2 blobs in storage 1 as shown in the following table. So here you can see that we have file name 1 and file name 2, which are given with the location container 1 and 2 and also given with the access tier hot and hot. Now let's move ahead. Here you can see in the answer area, you're given with some set of statements and you have to tell whether these statements are correct or not. So here let's read the first statement. The first one says that on the June 6th, the file 1 will be stored in the cool access tier. And friends, this is an incorrect statement. That's why no is the correct answer. So let me explain. On the June 6th, the file 1 will move to the archive tier because the file 1 is in the container 1, as you can see here. And the rule 1 applies 3 days after June 1. Now let's assume today is June 1 as given in the question as well. So after 3 days, which rule do you think will trigger? So here you can see rule 1 that will trigger after 3 days. And what action will it perform? Well, it will move the file to the archive storage. And which file will it move? It will move the file 1. And that's why after 3 days, the file will be moved to the archive storage and not to the cool access tier. So that's why the first statement is not the correct one. So no is the correct answer. Now let's check out the second statement. It says on the June 1, file 2 will be stored in cool access tier. Yes or no? And once again, this one is also not the correct statement. That's why no is the correct answer. So let's understand this one as well. On the June 1, file 2 will not be stored in the cool access tier. And why this is so? Because file 1 sits in the container 2 and on the container, the only rule applies are rule 3 and rule 4. And these rules apply 10 days and 15 days respectively. That's why on June 1, the file 2 will still be in the hot access tier. Now let's move on to the final statement. It says on June 16, file 2 will be stored in archive access tier. Yes or no? What do you think? This one also once again is an incorrect statement and that's why no is the correct answer. So let me explain this one as well. So on the June 16, the file 2 will be deleted. And why this is so? Because rule 3 this rule will apply after 10 days after the June 1, and this rule will delete the blob, and that's why the final statement that states file 2 will be stored in archive access tier is incorrect one. And in case you really want to understand what are the differences between all the access tiers, then this is the documentation, and of course you have to do this. There are a lot of questions from this area. So first of all, you can see that we have 4 access tier. The first one is hot, second one is cool, and then we have cold, and last one is archive. And friends, please note the difference. We have cool and we also have cold tier. Lot of people get confused in the real exam. So here you can see the hot access tier is an online tier optimized for storing the data that is accessed and modified frequently. On the other hand, the cool access tier is an online tier optimized for storing the data that is infrequently accessed or modified. The data in the cool access tier should be stored for a minimum of 30 days. And then we have cold access tier, an optimized tier for storing the data that is infrequently accessed and modified. And in this storage tier, you should be storing the data for minimum of 90 days. And lastly, we have archive tier, an offline tier that is optimized for storing the data that is rarely accessed. And in this one, you should be storing the data for at least 180 days. So I really hope you understood the differences between all the access tiers. Please do check out the question number 91 in the part 13 because that has also appeared in the AZ-104 exam along with this question. Now let's move on. Question number 97 that says that you have registered DNS name contoso.com. Now you create public Azure DNS zone name contoso.com. You need to ensure that the records created in contoso.com zone are resolvable from the internet. What should you do? Your options are option A, create NS record in contoso.com. Option B, modify SOA record in the DNS domain registrar. And then option C, create a SOA record in the contoso.com. And lastly, option D, modify the NS record in the NS domain registrar. And the correct answer is option D, modify the NS records in the DNS domain registrar. So friends, in order to ensure that the records created in the Azure DNS zone named contoso.com are resolvable from the internet, you need to delegate the domain to the Azure DNS name servers. And to do this, you need to modify the NS or the name server records at the DNS domain registrar for contoso.com to point to the Azure DNS name server. And this will allow the authoritative DNS server for the contoso.com to be hosted in Azure, and that's why modify the NS record in the DNS domain registrar is the correct answer. Now let's move on. Question number 98. The question says that you have an Azure subscription that contains web app named web app 1. Now you need to add a custom domain named www.contoso.com to the web app 1. What should you do first? Your options are create a DNS record. Option B, add a connection string. Option C, upload a certificate. And lastly, option D, stop web app 1. And the correct answer is option A, create a DNS record. Now let's validate the answer on the Microsoft documentation. So in this documentation, you can understand how to map an existing custom DNS name, which in our case is www.contoso.com, to an Azure App Service, which in our case is web app 1. And I'm sure that you're already able to locate the answer. Here you can see it's given that you have to first configure the custom domain, which already we have, which is contoso.com. And the very next step is create a DNS record. And that of course validates our answer. You can read the entire documentation and understand the process. And as always, all the links are shared in the description box. Now let's move on. Question number 99. It says that you sign up for Azure Active Directory Premium and you need to add a user named admin1 at contoso.com as an administrator on all the computers that will be joined to Azure AD domain. What should you configure in Azure AD? Your options are option A, device settings from the device blade. Option B, providers from the MFA server blade. Then option C, user settings from the user blade. And lastly, option D, general settings from the groups blade. And the correct answer for this question is option A, device settings from the devices blade. And now on your screen is question number 100, a century for all of us. Editors, drum roll and clapping please. So here we go. Question number 100. Let's read it out. It says that you have a deployment template named template 1 that is used to deploy 100 Azure web apps. Now you need to identify what to deploy before you deploy template 1. The solution must minimize the Azure cost. What should you identify? And your options are option A, 5 Azure application gateways. Option B, 1 app service plan. Option C, 10 app service plans, option D, 1 Azure Traffic Manager, and the last option, option E, 1 Azure Application Gateway. Now let me reveal the answer first and then we will validate. So the correct answer, could you guess it? Well, it's option B, 1 app service plan. And just by creating one app service plan, you can support up to 10 web apps. And that's why adding any other resource is pointless and not needed as per the requirement. And this is the documentation to validate our answer. First of all, let's understand what exactly is the app service. So app service brings together everything that you need to create websites, web API for any platform or device. And then my friends, on this very documentation, let me zoom in a little bit more. So in this documentation, you can understand and compare all the web app plan. For example, you can see here that we have free, which you can try of course for free. Then we also have shared environment. And then we also have basic, dedicated, standard run production workloads. And you have premium, which is for enhanced performance and scale. And then isolated, which is of course high performance, security and isolation. And also you can understand all the intricacies of all these web app plans. You can also understand what is the pricing model here. So here you can see that we have pay as you go pricing model. Of course, the free one is free and then you're given with all the other rates per hour. So all in all, it's a really helpful document that you should read to understand all about the web app plans, because this web app plan is one service that you will most definitely consume as an Azure administrator. And friends, your suggestions, feedback and questions are more than welcome. Similar to this series, you can also watch our other exam preparation series on both Microsoft Azure and Amazon AWS. And also keep yourself updated by subscribing to the channel, because we bring multiple quality videos and shorts every week to enhance your learning. And as always, like and share this video, read our blogs, and that's all for today. I will see you in the next video. Till then, stay fit, keep learning, and thanks for watching.